Good afternoon, everybody. This is Chuck Sipe.
This is Chris Zigar, and we're going to talk to you a little bit about the Portrait of a Graduate and the process for this year for developing a Portrait of a Graduate for the district. And the most important thing to really start out with is why are we doing this work? And nowadays, a lot of school districts have mission statements, and they're nice, but they're really hard to transfer into like actual things that kids do, like actual performance standards. So if we really want to put down the values that we have for our students and what we want them to be able to attain when they graduate, which I'm sure are not embedded specifically like in standardized tests. They're more things that we care about, like you would find in a vision statement. Then what we have to do is be able to create actual indicators that we can track students with and the values that we care about. So in other words, what we're focusing on here is, can we operationally define what we truly find valuable for each student?
And so that focus is for each student K to 12. We don't want the word graduate just to become synonymous with our oldest learners. Our youngest learners, we start that then. Our elementary teachers really help embed those skills. So what's our plan of attack? We're going to start this fall. This will be a year-long process. We recognize people have lots on their plate, but if this is something that truly guides all that we do, we need to give it its due attention. And so the administration has worked to take the feedback from the community to draft paragraphs for each theme, which your principals will share with you, and we welcome your feedback. We want you to review them for really a couple of things. First, do they make sense? Will your students understand them? And do they connect from one grade band to the next so that we can build a continuous trend from K through 12? So we'll start the school year with that. Through the winter and the spring, we're going to develop indicators, which are really our actionable strategies. What does learning look like? How can it be demonstrated for each of those indicators? And there's a description here of what that is. But we need to make sure that we have ways to actually see student performance in this area. So we're going to get a little bit more into grafting and cornerstone performance tasks here. But at this point, I just want to caution you, this is not about more work. This is about enriching the work we've already done. So here's a sample. This draft paragraph came directly from the community project last year for 9 to 12, but the administration worked to draft samples that connect all the way through, starting with our youngest learners of what this looks like. And they worked hard to develop language that students will understand.
So the cornerstone performance task is where you take that paragraph that sounds like a mission statement. So like right now what we've done is we've kind of created as a community, different types of things that we value, different types of attributes of a student, and kind of made like little mission statements all the way down from K to 12. And that's great, except that still doesn't translate into action. So a cornerstone performance task is actually what that paragraph looks like in action. Now, what separates a cornerstone performance task from like a focus question or essential question in a subject is that the cornerstone performance task has to be transferable across all disciplines. So if we're talking about something like empathy, when a kid is being empathetic, that skill should transfer from math, English, all the way through. All right, so as stated earlier, cornerstone performance tasks are performance-based. They can recur across grades with increasing sophistication. They integrate our Portrait of a Graduate outcomes. They are broadly applicable as stated, and most importantly, they are relevant. They are relevant to our portrait indicators, and they're relevant to our students' lives.
So just previously I mentioned, this is not more work, and it even said that on the slide. So if you're feeling like, oh my gosh, this is one more thing to do, how will I ever get everything accomplished? If you step back and look at all of the great things you do with our students on a daily basis, I think you will find you're already doing these things as individual teachers, as teams of teachers, as grade levels of teachers, as departments, and as entire schools. We're already providing these opportunities to our students. So I think if we start this work by just examining carefully what we do, we'll find a great resource of items already completed. But I think we'll also find ways that we can enhance other things, other assignments, and there's two samples here, just quick examples, that would reflect an opportunity to graft, which is precisely what it sounds like in the way that we are used to using that word, of just really attaching or enriching a Portrait of a Graduate structure on an existing item. Does that mean or suggest that every single thing you do with students must be somehow connected? No, but it probably will be if you consider carefully what those Portrait of a Graduate themes are. So we wanted to send this video out so that everybody could have a little bit of a schedule about what will be going on, but we will continue the conversation at the beginning of the day on October 14th. Chris and I will give a little bit more opportunity to share on what those paragraphs look like, what the Cornerstone performance tasks will be. And as you will notice when the catalog comes out for the October 14th PD Day, each of our PD sessions will be connected to district goals as well as Portrait of a Graduate goals. And I think that will speak very clearly to everyone about how the great work you're already doing really does demonstrate what our community of learners has identified as our most important aspects of citizenship, thinkers and inquirers, emotionally intelligent leadership, life-ready skills, and adaptability and resiliency.
That sounds great.
So we'll see you the morning of October 14th to continue this conversation.